First one, what would you say was the main reason for dogs being abandoned? For example, like Staffordshire Bull Terriers are quite known to be vicious.
She's just gone on dinner.
So do you find that that's a common reason, violence, or is it just...
Staffies, it's a bit of a fallacy really with Staffies being aggressive. They're not really an aggressive breed at all. It just depends on how you bring the dog up. So you can have a Chihuahua who's as aggressive as a Staffy really. Main problem with Staffies is the pressure that they've got on their bite. So obviously when they do bite, they cause a lot more damage than what a Chihuahua would, that sort of thing. Staffies are very, very overbred. They're so easy for people to breed, and then they'll sell them for like £10 or £20 a pup for whatever they want to use the money for, drugs or whatever. So they're just overbred. People breed them in their kitchens, in their back gardens, whatever, and you know, and we are just overpopulated with Staffies. If you don't bring them up properly, then they can become a big problem dog. If you get them from a youngster and you sort of see what somebody can do with a Staffy. They were called the nanny dog. They're great with children, great with other dogs as a general rule. As I say, you bring them up wrong, same with any other dog, you've got potentially quite a dangerous animal, and I think this is where they get their reputation from, unfortunately. And then because of that, their reputation precedes them, and then people don't want them, and then you end up with, and so it goes on. You've also got the fact that people are struggling with money at the minute. So we're seeing a sort of a big intake of dogs where people can't afford to keep them anymore, so that's why we're having them in, basically.
Yeah. But we're not 100%. So going back to the violence, how would you deal with a dog that has a history of violence? Is it always a case of euthanising the dog, or is there some sort of rehabilitation program?
We put them through their assessments when they come in. Anyway, if a dog's known to have bitten, we're not allowed to rehome that by law. That's a law that is made for us, and we have to, as a rehoming centre, abide by that law. If it's just aggression, it can be nervous aggression. There's all different forms really of aggression, but we can work with a lot of it, and we've got an assessment block in our kennels which we put the dogs on just so they get a bit more, one-to-one time, and they are worked with. Some we can turn around, some we can't. We do have a euthanasia policy because obviously we couldn't keep the dogs here forever. We have a vet on site 4 times a week who sees our ill dogs, so if there are any ever that need euthanising, then we have a vet that will come in and do that. As I say, our main sort of aim here is to reunite them with the owners, if not rehome them on. So, rehab is part of what we do, working with the dogs.
Do you think there's a correlation between the behaviour of a dog and the way the previous owner treated it, or would you say it's based on natural instinct and the way it's bred?
From a different recipe, so we don't actually take them down, so we can have a look at them as well.
It's a bit of a grey area, this one. If you've got a dog that's particularly aggressive, I think it can sometimes pass through to puppies. However, dogs aren't born aggressive, so I think a lot of it is down to owners, and even somebody who does something where they have a puppy and they don't take it out with other dogs. You look at that at 6 to 8 months old, doesn't know how to react around other dogs. That can be sort of interpreted as dog aggression. So again, it's one of those where you have to look at the individual dog, but I do think a lot of it is down to owners and how the dog's brought up.
What advice would you give to someone looking to adopt a rescue dog? Do you think that experienced children and other dogs make a difference?
Well, as I say, our assessment process goes through, we look at what the dog's like with food, what they like with toys, are they food aggressive or food possessive, or are they okay, can you handle them while they're eating, what they like with toys. You get some dogs where if you're carrying a fluffy toy around, they will take it out your hand and they'll catch your fingers. Now, they're not biting, they just want the toy and they will take it off you because that's what they want. So dogs like that we wouldn't put with children necessarily, because if they're carrying a little toy around and the dog comes and catches their fingers, then you're going to get the parents say, oh, the dog's bitten, dog comes in and it has to be put to sleep. So we sort of err more on the side of caution, and don't put the dog in that position really. So if we can see that there might be an issue, we don't ever rehome that dog with children. you get some dogs that are okay with other dogs, but they don't particularly like a dog in the face. They don't like dogs who are boisterous around them. So on that instance, we wouldn't rehome that dog with other dogs. So we sort of make provisions for the dogs to a degree. If there's a dog who's got his food and he will kill you to get his food, then obviously we can't rehome that dog. So again, you know, you've got sort of limits on everything. But you know, we would sort of advise the customer it's not really suitable to go with children, or we haven't seen anything that would give us any worries around children. But again, you know, we insist that everybody meets the dog before it goes home, so that we know that the dog is okay with everybody in the family, and that everybody in the family is okay with the dog. Sometimes dogs look at somebody and it reminds them of a past, and that might trigger something off. So, you know, as I say, we insist that they meet all the people they're going to be living with, and that they meet other dogs as well, and cats if they wish. We've had chickens brought in to meet dogs, and rabbits, and all sorts. So, you know.
Finally, what's the process? You've kind of covered this, but does the dog need to form a trusting relationship with its potential owner? Is the home investigated, or can someone just adopt a dog and take it home?
Right. So our process is they come in, they have a look around. If they see a dog they like the look of, they can take the dog out for a walk if it's available for rehome. The dog then has to meet everybody in the family, as I said. Any dogs then must meet. Cats, birds, anything like that, that's up to them. You know, you can't make somebody bring a cat in. But we insist with the dog. So once they've met everybody they're going to be living with, they can put a deposit down, which is £10. We then arrange for the dog to see our vet, so he has a full sort of MOT if you like, and also we go and do a home check at the person's house. We're making sure that the fence is at least 4 foot tall, there's no sort of holes, there's no gates that have got gaps under or they can jump over and things like that. We don't allow them to be left for more than about 4 hours a day, because obviously, you know, it's no point having the dog if you're going to go out to work and leave it for 10 hours a day and not expect the dog to eat your house while you're not there. You know, they make their own entertainment if you don't provide any. We supply them with 3 weeks of vet care, so anything kennel cough, which is you get in kennels, it's just one of those things that you know we can't get rid of. So we supply them with 3 weeks free vet care. They can come here, see our vet. Medication and the consultation is all paid for within their 3 weeks free, if you like. And they get 3 weeks as well, sort of returns policy. If things are going wrong at home, we will have the dog back and we will issue them with a credit note, or they can have the money back. So we sort of offer that as well. And that's about it really. And once we've done all that, the dog has to legally stay in our kennels for 7 days, and on its 8th day, if we haven't been able to reunite it with its owner, we can rehome it. It becomes our property then, and then we rehome the dog. So, and then we do a follow-up sort of, we give them a ring and see how they've got on, you know, overnight, and if they've got any problems they can ring us. You know, we've got.
Do you find you get many problems?
Not really. I mean, we'll get the odd person who's you know, perhaps not used to dogs, and they don't understand why they've had a wee or a poo in the house, and we just tell them, you know, you've got a bit of a transitional period where they move from kennels to home, where they need to get used to it. Overnight isn't really, unless they're like sort of completely and utterly destroying the house or eating somebody, overnight isn't really long enough to decide, which is why we give them a 3 weeks sort of cooling off period, if you want to call it that, just to make sure that everything's going to plan.
That's really helpful.
All right.
Thank you very much.
No problem at all.